Well, I guess eventually it was going to be someone, and I guess today it's going to be you. Show me once where I mentioned voting or what we are going to be doing one day in November, 6 months from now. You are having a conversation that no one's having, arguing points that nobody made here. You are so desperate to avoid engaging with the reality that you live in that you are trying to fight me to change the conversation around entirely to something that nobody's talking about and that nobody cares about, honey. Maybe you only care about people who live in this country. Maybe you don't see the connection between what's happening to us and the things that we are doing right now under this administration at this very moment, but I do. And you know who else does? Literally everyone else who's looking and isn't just flailing, trying desperately to regain whatever sense of normalcy that they think they have. I've said this before and I will say it again because clearly some people need to hear it. You can try and browbeat like Gen X people and like maybe even some elder millennials about like what they will be losing if they don't buy into this, if they don't continue to buy into this system. But you can't tell that to somebody who has never for a single day in their life seen a shred of evidence that the American dream is anything more than a mythology. And what's more, your analysis completely ignores all of the Black and Indigenous people like myself, who live in New York City, supposedly the most liberal, most cosmopolitan place in the world, perhaps, but yet live under the thumb of the jackbooted thugs of the NYPD, who can yank you off the street at any moment for any or no reason at all under any administration. That is not freedom. Don't tell me about how it could get worse. I know that. But there's a point where people don't have anything to lose or don't have more to lose than they stand to gain. And that's where we are. You can either see that or you can continue to ignore it. That is on your conscience. That is on your heart. Honestly, congratulations, because your life must be decent enough that you can wait 6 months to go and do one thing in the little booth and think that you've done all you need to do to help our world. And in the meantime, how many people are going to lose their lives because of something with your name on it, with your money behind it? Clearly, you're out here just for yourself, or you wouldn't be on my page talking this nonsense. You would be somewhere on some right-winger's page telling them to change their ways because you're probably related to them and you're afraid to talk to them. You're afraid because that's the hard fight. You're not afraid to go on somebody's page who has less power and privilege than you do and talk all kinds of nonsense about how we got to get behind whoever they throw up in front of us. And guess what? Guess what you're doing? Guess what you're supporting? Nobody's buying it anymore. Okay? Most of us weren't already, but didn't see how many other people weren't. And now that we do, now that we can, which is again why they're trying to take all of the means of showing it to each other away from us, motherfuckers are not trying to buy the American dream for a nickel a pail anymore because they know it's a mythology. It always has been. You were talking to somebody who, like, legally and literally didn't have the same rights as everyone else, even on paper, right? And we know that it's just on paper, but even on paper, until like 60 years ago. You're trying to tell me that the country that we live in is like a democracy, a shining democracy, all of a sudden because of like a couple of laws that we forced them to pass in the 60s? Are you serious? Go argue with a history book, okay? And get out of the way while the world aggressively tries to improve our conditions in ways that are real and ways that will stick. If you want to have this conversation 6 months from now, maybe we can have it then. Probably not, but maybe. Until then, you're wasting my time and you're wasting your own. So please, go do it somewhere else. Or even better, go have an argument with one of your family members who is actively, aggressively supporting all the stuff that you say that voting for the right person in November is going to protect.